Before the platinum records, the sold-out arenas and the million-dollar deals, they were broke, grinding, and completely unknown. Your favorite rappers weren't always superstars. Some were flipping burgers.
I do a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? I do several things. I'm the best motherfucking rapper, handsome. I make home-cooked meals. I produce and direct.
Some were mopping floors. Some were selling drugs just to survive. And some were doing things they'd rather forget entirely. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on what the biggest names in hip-hop were doing before fame changed everything. Strap in, because some of these will genuinely shock you. Tupac. Before he became the greatest rapper of all time, Tupac Shakur was a roadie and backup dancer for the Oakland hip-hop group Digital Underground. That's right, he was hauling equipment and dancing in the back while someone else held the mic. He'd also been selling drugs on the streets of Marin City, California, just to survive after dropping out of school. From roadie to rap legend in under 2 years, the most iconic glow-up in hip-hop history. Ice Cube. Before he was spitting the most dangerous verses in rap, Jackson took a completely different path. He earned a diploma in architectural drafting from the Phoenix Institute of Technology in Arizona. While his NWA crew was back in Compton, Ice Cube was literally drawing blueprints. He returned to LA in 1988 with his drafting degree as a backup plan. Good thing he didn't need it. The man behind Gangsta's Paradise had one of the most unexpected pre-fame resumes in hip-hop. Coolio worked as a volunteer firefighter and then as a security guard at Los Angeles International Airport before music took off. He also battled a crack cocaine addiction during this period. From lax security to global rap star, that's a runway in more ways than one. Lil Kim. Before the wigs, the surgery, and the icon status, Kimberly Jones was homeless as a teenager, living on the streets of Brooklyn after falling out with her family. She was hustling to survive before Biggie Smalls discovered her spitting bars in Bed-Stuy. The streets weren't just her story, they were her entire life before rap gave her a way out. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne never really had a before. He signed to Cash Money Records at age 9 after Birdman heard him leaving rap freestyles on his answering machine. By 15, he was already finding commercial success. The streets weren't his story, the studio was. He dropped out of school in 10th grade because he was already in the music business. Weezy never punched a clock a day in his life. Rap was all he ever did. Jay-Z. Before he became hip-hop's first billionaire, Sean Carter was dealing drugs in the Marcy projects in Brooklyn. He's spoken openly about it, moving product on the corner while rap was just a dream. That street life didn't just shape his story, it built his entire brand. The hustle was always there, the product just changed. Eminem. Before Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers was washing dishes and working as a short-order cook at Gilbert's Lodge restaurant in Michigan, barely keeping the lights on. He was a broke kid with a daughter to feed and rap battles as his only escape. He was dropped from labels, failed auditions, and almost gave up music entirely. One tape falling into Dr. Dre's hands changed everything. Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick wasn't out here doing anything wild before fame. He was working at Foot Locker in Compton, selling sneakers. Quiet, observant, writing everything down. He also briefly worked as a security guard, and by his own account on MAAD City, got fired within a month for helping friends stage a robbery. That job gave him a front-row seat to his community, and you can hear it in every bar he's ever written. Drake. Before Thank Me Later, Aubrey Graham was playing wheelchair-bound Jimmy Brooks on the Canadian teen drama Degrassi, The Next Generation. He was a child actor who spent years trying to be taken seriously as a rapper while people only knew him from a teen TV show. He funded his early music himself from his acting paychecks and kept getting turned down. Then Best I Ever Had hit the internet, and the rest is history. Cardi B. Cardi B has never hidden this, she was a stripper.
You know why I find it so funny when people try to play me or when people like argue with me, they be like, that's why you was a stripper, like shut up you stripper. And it's like, are you trying to insult me? My nigga, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, like that's something that...
She started dancing at a club in New York at 19 to escape poverty and an abusive relationship. She said it saved her life. By the time she was going viral on Instagram and landing love and hip-hop, she already had more hustle than most artists twice her age. Snoop Dogg. Calvin Broadus was bagging groceries at a supermarket in Long Beach before Dr. Dre discovered him. He was also in and out of jail for drug possession, arrested literally the day he graduated high school. Grocery bagger to rap legend, not a bad career change. Before the world domination, Onika Maraj was waiting tables at a Red Lobster in New York City, and by her own account, she kept getting fired for being too aggressive with customers. Multiple restaurants, multiple firings. Turns out that energy was better suited for the rap game. 50 Cent. Like Jay-Z, Curtis Jackson was dealing drugs, moving product in Queens before being shot 9 times and somehow surviving. The streets were his full-time job before music was. He used to say rap was his way out. He wasn't wrong. Chance the Rapper. Before he became the first independent artist to win a Grammy, Chancellor Bennett was driving for Lyft in Chicago to make ends meet. He was also suspended from school for 10 days after getting caught with weed, and instead of wasting the time, he recorded his debut mixtape 10 Day during that suspension. That's turning a punishment into a platform. J. Cole. Before signing with Jay-Z's Roc Nation, Jermaine Cole graduated from St. John's University magna cum laude, that means with high honors. After college, while he was grinding to get noticed, he was working as a bill collector, a restaurant worker, and even doing maintenance jobs. He slept on couches and worked dead-end jobs for years before Jay-Z finally answered. The degree was backup. The bars were always the plan. Ludacris. Before What's Your Fantasy, Chris Bridges was already in the music world, just not as a rapper. He was working as a radio DJ at Atlanta station WVE, playing other people's music while secretly recording his own. He eventually pressed his own records independently and sold them out of his car. His radio connections helped him get his music heard, and the rest took off from there. T.I. Before becoming the king of the South, Clifford Harris Jr. was a drug dealer on the streets of Atlanta's Bankhead neighborhood. He started dealing as a teenager and had already been arrested multiple times by the time he was 14. In 1999, at 18 years old, he made the choice to walk away from the streets and bet everything on music. He was selling mixtapes out of a car trunk. That bet paid off. T-Pain. Fahim Rashid Najm grew up in Tallahassee, Florida, in a deeply religious household, before the auto-tune anthems. He was gigging as a small-time performer on the local club circuit, essentially a nobody trying to get noticed. He was rejected by labels repeatedly and nearly gave up. Then he flipped the script, embraced auto-tune before anyone else took it seriously, and changed the sound of pop and R&B forever. Ice Spice. Before Munch made her a star in 2022, Isis Gaston was working at Wendy's in the Bronx and also briefly at The Gap. She was a college student at SUNY Purchase Balancing School, work, and trying to record music on the side. One freestyle went viral and completely flipped her life, from the drive-through to the Bet Awards in under a year. King Von. Before Levon James, Davon Daquan Bennett was deep in the streets of Chicago's O Block neighborhood, one of the most dangerous blocks in the city. He was in and out of legal trouble, facing serious charges while trying to carve a way out through music. Lil Durk signed him to OTF and gave him a platform. He released 4 projects in 2019 and 2020, and was on the verge of superstardom when he was killed in November 2020 at just 26 years old. Lil Durk. Dirk Banks grew up in the Inglewood neighborhood of Chicago, one of the city's most dangerous areas. Before breaking out with his Sign to the Street series, he was in and out of trouble, facing gun charges, and grinding through the same survival mode that defined so many Chicago drill artists. He founded OTF, Only the Family, from the ground up, and built it into one of the most loyal crews in rap. DaBaby. Jonathan Kirk grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, attended the University of North Carolina at Greensboro for 2 years before dropping out, then spent years performing in North Carolina clubs while releasing mixtapes to almost zero attention. He self-funded everything. No label, no buzz, no cosigns. He went from unknown club rapper to one of the hottest artists in the country the moment Suge hit in 2019. Chief Keef. Keith Cozart never really had a before. He started recording as a teenager in Chicago and was already going viral locally before he could legally drive. But before the fame, or more accurately during the come-up, he was under house arrest at his grandmother's house in Chicago's South Side, on charges for pointing a gun at police at age 15. The fact that he was blowing up on YouTube while under house arrest made him one of the most unusual rap stories in history. He was 16 when he signed to Interscope. Folio. Charles Jones grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, deep in one of the city's most dangerous neighborhoods. Before music, he was living the street life that would later define his lyrics, and tragically, his death. He was shot and killed on his 26th birthday in June 2024 in Tampa, Florida. His story is one of the most sobering in recent rap history, a young man who rapped about the streets and couldn't outrun them. GZA. Before Liquid Swords made him a legend, Gary Grice was a bicycle messenger peddling through the streets of New York City. He had that job just 6 months before his career took off with the release of Wu-Tang's first single. But that wasn't even the lowest point. He had already signed to Cold Chillin' Records years earlier, released a debut album in 1991, and watched it go nowhere due to lack of promotion. A label deal, a flopped album, back to delivering packages on a bike. Most people would have quit. GZA went back to the studio with his cousins RZA and Old Dirty Bastard, And in 1993, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, changed hip-hop forever. The genius was always there. The world just wasn't ready yet.